Having decided to remain in the past, the question now becomes where will Pan stay for the next 3 years? Thankfully, Goku, having been told who she is during Trunks' warning about the androids, is more than happy to open his home to his granddaughter, especially when she expresses interest in training alongside him, Gohan, and Piccolo. Gohan is also happy to have a friend and training partner his own age, having never had either before, and Piccolo, thanks to his sensitive Namekian hearing, is aware of Pan's true identity, and so finds himself intrigued by the prospect of seeing his best friend's daughter in action, even if she is from another timeline. With this settled, the now 3 Son family members along with their big green buddy depart for Mount Paozu, vowing to meet up with the other Z Warriors in 3 years' time on May 12th. Goku's house is much the same as Pan remembers it from her timeline, albeit a little better maintained, and without the dozen or so landmines Grandma Chichi buried in the front yard. Speaking of Chichi, she is more than a little surprised to see Goku back, and with another kid, furiously demanding if he's been off philandering with alien women. Panic in his voice, Goku protests that it's not like that, honest. Though Pan is family, so she'll be staying with them for the next few years while they train for the incoming android attack. Chichi isn't sure what to be angrier with Goku about, that he up and left for over a year, that he's come back with a new mouth to feed without consulting her, or that he intends to take 2 children to fight a bunch of killer robots. As Goku cowers under this tongue lashing, Pan has to wonder if he's really the great warrior her dad and Aunt Bulma told her about, though when Chichi turns to face her, the girl does understand some of her grandfather's fear. However, this is unfounded, as taking on the role of hostess, Chichi apologizes for startling Pan and welcomes her into their home with the offer of something to eat or drink. Pan happily accepts, having always liked Grandma Chi-Chi's cooking, and so with masterful efficiency the Son matron begins whipping up a feast. Even in a different timeline, Chi-Chi's cooking is delicious, with Pan eating her fill alongside Goku and Gohan, much to the amusement of the elder, who chuckles that Trunks wasn't lying when he said she was part Saiyan. This causes Chi-Chi to let out a sigh of exasperation that she was looking forward to having a sweet girl in the house, instead of another Saiyan delinquent, while Gohan's eyes light up with curiosity, asking about her Saiyan lineage, since his father had said she was family, and to his knowledge Goku and Vegeta are the only Saiyans left. Pan is understandably cagey about this subject, not wanting to freak her future father out, or worse, alter the timeline in a way so that she's never born, but thankfully Goku comes in for the save, giving a technically true answer that they share blood through his parents. This is enough for Gohan to assume that Pan must be his cousin, and Pan awkwardly chuckles that it's something like that, before hastily returning to her bowl of rice. Mercifully, the topic is soon changed to Goku's time in space, and after a hearty meal, Pan is able to go to sleep with a full belly for the first time in years. However, life in the past is not all feasts and soft beds, as before the sun is in the sky, Piccolo comes to wake Pan, telling her it's time for training. Being a light sleeper is a necessity for survival in the future, and so Pan is on her feet in an instant, eager to get to work. This attitude makes Piccolo snark that she's nothing like Gohan was when he was training him. In fact, from what he's seen, she's a lot more like Goku. This surprises Pan, who had never heard of her father being anything less than fiercely dedicated to his training, and seeing this surprise, Piccolo tells the girl about what a crybaby Gohan was, and how it took him surviving hell to draw out his warrior instincts. Even now, he doesn't believe Gohan actually likes training or fighting, he just does it to protect those precious to him. This at last resonates with the gentle yet stalwart Gohan from her memories, with Pan promising she'll do her best to make sure this timeline's Gohan is strong enough that he never has to experience the pain of losing the people he holds dear. The way she says this makes it clear to Piccolo that this is a pain she knows all too well, and though his tone is gruff, there is a hint of encouragement as he tells her to follow him, since Gohan's not going to reach that level of strength without them. The morning's training begins with some light sparring to get a feel for each other's power, since the guys have been apart for almost 2 years and Pan is a newcomer to their group. Unfortunately for the past dwellers, Pan is unfamiliar with this concept of light sparring, having always trained with Trunks as though it were a kill or be killed situation, since at any moment it could become one. That coupled with her immense hybrid potential means that when she goes on the attack, Gohan quickly finds himself being overwhelmed until Goku steps in to put a stop to the onslaught, chastising Pan for going too far. This surprises and upsets the girl, who protests that this sort of training is what it takes to fight the androids. Ruffling her hair in a grandfatherly manner, Goku acknowledges that this is how she and Trunks probably trained, but also points out that the circumstances are different now. In the future, the androids could attack at any moment, so each day was a sprint to grab more power, but they know they have 3 years before the battle, making this training more like a marathon. Pan thinks she understands, and so agrees to follow her grandpa's lead as he starts sparring with Piccolo. Soon she jumps in, doing the same with Gohan, who now that he has a read on Pan's power is able to match up much better. Over the course of the morning, the fighting grows more vigorous, with everyone powering up to their full strength now that they've warmed up. Pan is pleased to see that her kid dad is no slouch, being of comparable strength with her, and getting in as many good hits as he receives. When it comes time to break for lunch, the pair chat, praising each other on their battle strength, with Gohan wanting to get to know Pan more as a person, such as what her hobbies are. Scratching her head, Pan admits that training is her only real hobby, since after her parents died, she had to step up to help Trunks fight the androids, so most of her time was spent training. Sagely, Gohan says it must have been tough to grow up in a world like that, but even still, now that she's here, he'll make sure to show her some of the fun things she might have missed out on, like ice cream. A little awkwardly, Pan admits that she's tried ice cream. Her dad gave her some when she was very young. Undeterred, Gohan says that there are lots of other neat things to show her, with Goku chiming in that he'd also like to give her a taste of what a peaceful world's like, since it'll be a good incentive to train if she knows what she's fighting for. Goku and Gohan make good on their offer that very weekend, with the entire Son clan taking a day trip to the nearby Orange City. After stopping off at an all-you-can-eat buffet, an exciting concept which is entirely new to Pan, the family do a bit of sightseeing, followed by a brief trip to an amusement park, then finally shopping. Pan has a great time with her grandparents and father, even enduring clothes shopping with Chichi, though she does draw the line at her grandmother's attempt to buy her a bunch of frilly dresses, stating they would be totally impractical in combat. She also gives Chichi a nasty surprise when the woman sees the large scar on her back, courtesy of the androids, with Pan telling her that it's a reminder of a grave mistake she once made, as well as a warning of the terrifying powers she, Goku, Gohan, and the rest will have to overcome if they don't want this world to become a desolate hellscape, just like the one she came from. This troubles Chichi, who fiercely declares that this is no way for a child to grow up, but in sober tones, Pan replies that she had to be a warrior first and a child second. Frowning, the Son matron declares that things are different here, and so long as the girl is under her care, she will see to it that Pan is given the love and security she deserves, as well as a proper education, so that when she goes back to wherever she came from, she can make something of herself, rather than just being a muscle-bound brute. It is a touching gesture, with Pan thanking her past grandmother for her concern, though she remains resolute that before she can dream of any sort of peaceful future, defeating the androids must be her top priority. From there on, the Son family's schedule becomes as such. 5 days a week, Goku, Gohan, and Pan train with Piccolo for the android attack. 1 day a week, Goku does his work around the farm to earn some money, while Chi-Chi gives the kids an intensive week's worth of schooling in a day, and on the final day of the week, they all rest, often doing something fun together as a family. It is a good system that allows for a healthy balance, which keeps the warriors in top physical and mental shape, and before she knows it, Pan finds herself truly feeling like part of the family. Like every family, life isn't always sunshine and rainbows, with the headstrong future girl often butting heads with the equally strong-willed Chi-Chi, who is not used to a child who talks back and questions her decisions. She also has to hound Goku to take his heart medicine, since the absent-minded Saiyan tends to forget when not prompted. Nonetheless, it is an unmistakably loving household, and Pan is happier here than she ever has been before. On the training side of things, the three Saiyans and Piccolo see exponential gains, even surpassing those they received in canon due to the addition of another powerful training partner. Gohan benefits the most from this, having a peer and rival who he can measure himself against, with the two kids having a playful dynamic where they continually push each other to improve. They also just enjoy each other's company, getting up to hijinks together, such as when they decide to jump Goku one evening when he's in the tub. Goku for his part is up for these shenanigans, even getting in on a few of them much to Piccolo and Chi-Chi's shared chagrin. Goku also serves as the type of positive adult role model Pan has lacked ever since the death of her father, a warrior who encourages her to embrace her Saiyan instincts, while also being calm of spirit and wise from years of experience. This allows the pair to develop a close bond, often expressed through their shared love of training, with the grandfather-granddaughter duo often sneaking in a little extra training during their work or relaxation days. This is not the only form of love being shared, however. As inspired by the joy Pan has brought to Gohan, Chi-Chi decides that she wants to give her son a little brother or sister, and so about a year before the androids are set to appear, the Son family gains a new member as they welcome Goten into the world. Pan is fascinated by Goten, since he does not exist in her timeline, and as a result does all she can to assist her grandmother in looking after the little tyke. Chi-Chi is grateful for the help, and the pair often spend this time talking, with Pan enjoying her company, since it reminds her of the time she spent with her timeline's Chi-Chi when she was younger. Finally, the fateful day arrives, with Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, and Pan departing for the island where the androids are set to appear. All four of them are significantly more powerful than before, with each feeling confident in their abilities. The only worry in Pan's mind is despite her 3 years of intense training, she has still not yet become a Super Saiyan, though neither has Gohan, so perhaps it's like Trunks said that she needs to be older before her body can handle the form. Even still, unlike in her timeline, they have one distinct advantage going into this battle: her grandpa Goku. He is still alive, and thanks to her nagging him to take his heart medicine, he is in perfect health, and with his power on their side, they might just be able to defeat the androids and ensure that her bleak future never comes to pass. Arriving on the island, they are greeted by Krillin, Yamcha, and Tien, all of whom have grown significantly stronger, as well as Bulma and a baby who Pan can only assume is Trunks. Eagerly, the young Quarter Saiyan runs over to meet her infant mentor, somewhat thoughtlessly greeting him by name, much to the shock of Bulma who hasn't introduced them to the baby yet. Laughing awkwardly and rubbing the back of her bandana-clad head, Pan tries to come up with an excuse, until Goku inadvertently comes to her aid a moment later by making an even bigger gaffe, as he expresses surprise that Bulma and Vegeta actually hooked up. By now, Bulma is definitely suspicious, asking Goku how he knows that. But the Saiyan just mimics his granddaughter with the awkward laugh and the hand behind his head, causing his friends to sigh that, oh great, now there's 2 Gokus. However, there are more pressing matters to attend to than Bulma's baby boy, such as the imminent arrival of the androids, and so when Yajirobe drops off the Senzu beans and subsequently has his hover car destroyed by the mechanical menaces, the Z-Warriors split up to scour the city. Thanks to Pan's knowledge of the androids, the group are better prepared, knowing that they don't emit ki, and more importantly what they look like. This is unfortunately a double-edged sword, as with the heroes on the lookout for a blonde-haired girl and raven-haired boy, Yamcha has his guard down when he is approached by an elderly gentleman in his rotund companion, allowing the real androids to catch him unawares, severely injuring him with an arm through the torso. The only positive to come from this is that the rapid dropping of Yamcha's ki acts as a flare to his friends, with the rest of the Dragon team rushing to assist him. What they find is a grisly sight, and when the elderly man tosses Yamcha to the side, Goku demands to know who this unknown assailant is. With a haughty chuckle, this man introduces himself as Android 20, with his partner being Android 19, but this only confuses the heroes, with Gohan saying that he thought Pan told them the androids were called 17 and 18. Pan protests that they are, a claim which only makes 20 cackle harder, as he sneers that he doesn't know how this brat knows 17 and 18, but those recalcitrant teens will not be appearing today, since he and 19 are more than capable of eliminating Goku and getting revenge for the fallen Red Ribbon Army. He then orders 19 to attack, but Goku tells the sadistic geezer to stop, saying if he wants to fight, so be it, but he won't do it here, since too many lives will be lost. Instead, they'll do battle in a nearby wasteland. 20 calls this acceptable, since it matters not to him where Son Goku meets his end, merely that he be killed for his crimes. The heroes along with their android adversaries then take to the air, flying far from the city, with Krillin making a brief detour to collect the Senzu beans from Bulma and give one to Yamcha so that he doesn't die. Before long, the warriors touch down in a rocky plain, with Android 20 telling Goku that he is surprised the Saiyan has chosen such a desolate final resting place. Grinning, Goku replies that he's not gonna die, telling the androids to take their best shot when they're ready, since he and his friends came prepared. Sneering, 20 retorts that he has too, explaining the way his spy drones observed Goku and the other heroes for years, gathering data on them, so now he will prove once and for all that machine is superior to man. Taking this as his cue, 19 steps forward, while Goku does likewise, his eyes taking on an aquamarine color as his hair spikes up. Then with a roar, both his hair and his aura turn gold, much to the android's shock, with 19 asking his contemporary if he knows what this is. Smirking, 20 replies that he doesn't, but it makes no difference, telling the power bot to attack. Acknowledging this order, 19 lunges forward, but in his Super Saiyan state, Goku is faster, vanishing from view and reappearing behind 19 just in time to drive his elbow into the back of the bot's skull. This staggers the Red Ribbon android, but Goku isn't about to give up his advantage, pouncing on 19 and delivering a flurry of blows, each of which do serious damage. Seeing that he is outclassed as a martial artist, 19 attempts a tactical retreat in order to best assess his options, but just as quickly as he can flee, Goku follows, catching the android by the wrist and hurling him into the air. As 19 hurtles upwards, Goku prepares his finishing move, a Kamehameha, but as he fires the blue beam, both 19 and 20 grin. 19 then stops himself in midair, extending a hand, and as the Kamehameha makes contact, it is absorbed into the red gem on the mechanical menace's palm. At once, 19's speed, strength, and even combat prowess seem to increase, with the droid going on the offensive. Having gauged 19's power to be far below his own, Goku is taken by surprise at the strength of this attack, being sent flying into a mesa. 19 then goes in for the kill, moving faster than the human eye can comprehend, and planting a hand on Goku's mouth, attempting to drain his energy and end his life. However, this is not the fatigued Goku he fought in canon, who was fighting off the heart virus. This is Goku in peak condition, with the strength gained from better training, and so when 19 goes for the energy, he gets more than he bargained for. With a scream, Goku powers up to his max, attempting to knock 19 back, and this is too much for the rotund robot, whose power absorption gem shatters under the strain of trying to absorb all that ki. Sadly, this is not the full extent of 19's trouble, as Goku's ki continues to flow, and without the gem to convert it into something beneficial, the raw, unfiltered energy rips through the droid, overloading his central battery and causing him to explode in a burst of fire and scrap. Nothing remains of 19 after this, and seeing the predicament he's in, 20 flees, using the heroes checking on Goku for cover. Thankfully, the Saiyan is still alive, and after a Senzu bean to replenish the energy 19 stole, he and the others give chase. Once more, the android's lack of a key signature proves to be a thorn in the Z-Fighters' side, as without that, they are forced to split up and rely on their eyes to find the fast-moving fiend. Unfortunately, this is just what 20 wants, with the android lying in wait until one of the warriors crosses his path. And as it so happens, Pan is the unlucky person to do so. Figuring that a 10-year-old girl must surely be the weakest of the heroes, especially when she didn't even participate in the fight with Vegeta and Nappa like Son Goku's son did, 20 strikes, grabbing Pan from behind and planting a hand over her mouth to absorb her ki. Taking her cues from Goku, Pan flares her energy in an attempt to destroy the creepy old robot's power absorption gem and blow him away, but alas, Pan is no Super Saiyan, and so 20 easily consumes her power, growing stronger as Pan's own energy fades. This does, however, alert her friends to the girl's peril, with Gohan being the closest. Seeing 20's assault on Pan, the young half-Saiyan launches a counter-offensive, striking the mechanical menace from behind and forcing him to let go of his future daughter. As 20 staggers, Pan gives Gohan her thanks before the pair launch a combined attack, using their years of training together to create an effective combo of punches and kicks. Meanwhile, back at the wasteland where Goku killed 19, another conflict is about to begin. Vegeta, having sensed the battle going on, is disappointed to see the telltale sign of Goku's victory. However, it seems that his coming here is not a waste, as before he can leave, the lavender-haired boy from 3 years ago comes flying into view. Urgently, he asks the prince where Goku and the others are, but with a scoff, Vegeta retorts that he couldn't care less, since it seems the boy's dreaded android threat was no match for a Super Saiyan. Sighing with relief, Trunks says he had hoped that would be the case, admitting that now all he has to do is find Pan and they can be on their way. But as he turns to leave, his way is blocked by Vegeta, who growls that there is still one more matter to deal with: the legitimacy of the boy's Super Saiyan status. Having sensed Pan by now, Trunks is able to deduce that perhaps the danger has not in fact passed, and so tells the full-blooded Saiyan that they can settle that later, since he thinks the others might be in trouble. However, Vegeta merely reiterates that he doesn't care what happens to Kakarot and the other clowns, saying that this is a matter of pride, since he worked hard to attain the legend, and now he's gonna put it to use. And who better to test it on than the person who should have no claim to the form? The prince's hair then turns gold, with his eyes going green, and as he leers at Trunks, he orders him to come at him with everything he's got, just like he did when he tested Kakarot. Angrily, Trunks snaps that they don't have time for this, since Pan and the others might be in real danger, but this is only met by a punch to the gut from Vegeta, who orders him once more to fight, unless he is a coward. Seeing that the stubborn Saiyan can't be reasoned with, Trunks too powers up into Super Saiyan, determined to get to his surrogate little sister even if it means going through his father. Smirking, Vegeta declares that this is what he wanted to see, and as the two men's auras flare, the duel between father and son begins. Back with the main group, Pan and Gohan are slowly but surely gaining an advantage in their battle with Android 20, the bond they have forged over 3 years of training being an excellent counter to the sneaky tricks of the mechanical menace. It seems as though the kids might actually be able to defeat the droid and save the world. That is until an uninvited guest enters the fray, that being Bulma, along with Yajirobe and baby Trunks in her hovercar. Seeing a chance to escape, 20 launches an attack at the vehicle, and knowing that her aunt and the past version of her mentor are in there, Pan intercepts the blast, taking massive damage and leaving Gohan exposed for a counterattack from 20 that drives him into the ground. Thankfully, at that moment, the rest of the heroes arrive, and knowing he's outnumbered, 20 elects to flee, though not before looking the wounded Pan in the eye and declaring that it seems she will get her wish after all, as they have left him no choice but to activate 17 and 18. Urgently, Pan cries for 20 to stop, saying he doesn't know what havoc will be wrought if he unleashes them upon the world, but the mustachioed machine snarls that he doesn't care, so long as they destroy Son Goku first. And just like that, he is gone, vanishing once more among the rocks, bound for his secret lab. Thankfully, having not been distracted by the destruction of her hovercar, Bulma is able to identify 20 as none other than Dr. Gero himself, a helpful fact made only more helpful by the revelation that she knows the location of his lab and probable destination. Calling his old friend the best, Goku then takes off for the lab north of North City, with Piccolo, Tien, Yamcha, and Krillin following on. Pan and Gohan pause briefly, each taking a moment to eat a senzu and recover their vitality, but more than that, Pan finds herself with a dilemma. By now she has sensed Trunks' power rising in the distance, and is torn between her duty to him and her responsibility to help the others chase down Gero. Gohan, knowing her well enough to understand the turmoil she's in, lays a hand on his friend's shoulder, telling her to go help Trunks, while he'll go with his dad and the others. Smiling, Pan thanks her future father, then the pair head off in opposite directions, wishing each other luck and promising to meet again soon. Unfortunately, even knowing where they are going, the Z-Warriors are still trailing behind Gero, who got himself a decent head start, and to make matters more challenging, the heroes do not know the exact location of the lab, merely that it is in the mountain range. As a result, they reluctantly split up once more, each staying on their guard to avoid being ambushed like Pan was. As luck would have it, Krillin stumbles upon the not-so-good doctor just as he is heading into his mountain lab, and so raising his ki as a beacon, he summons his friends to his side. By the time they arrive, however, Gero has already sealed himself behind a large steel door. At the head of the procession, Goku grins that this isn't a problem, charging a ki ball in his hand and launching it at the door. Naturally, simple steel is nothing to Earth's mightiest warrior, and as the smoke clears, the heroes find themselves staring down not just Android 20, but a blonde-haired girl and a black-haired boy, just like Pan warned them about. Androids 17 and 18 have been unleashed. And that's where we'll leave things for now. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts, suggestions, or screams of rage in the comments below.